There, just changing the tracks after the first 100.
Now the jury, there are many jury officials out on the track. There was a little bit of elbowing there. You're not really technically allowed to elbow, so I wonder if there'll be a yellow card there, or at least a warning. Heidi Weng wanted in, but Kilonen didn't let her.
No, and Kilonen up there, 7 is Niskanen. And now coming up over this now traditional piece of design, the Beastman roller. You might remember one of those 170 meters from home at the World Championships in Val di Fiemme just a couple of weeks ago. And forcing her way to the front, Charlotte Kaller, the Olympic freestyle champion, who certainly has improved her classic skiing, as she showed. My concern is, will she actually suddenly run out of gas? Because we've seen this 1 or 2 times with her in classic races.
But this is intelligent racing, where she's placing herself at the front for this downhill section. I see we picked up speed of almost 44 kilometers an hour in the first heat. I'm sure we'll see some faster speeds than 44. But this is good. Look at the recovery. So 130 of absolute total sprint, and then this little section of recovery.
Kaller, who was 6th over the last weekend in Lahti in the freestyle sprint there, and now you can see really get a sense of pace down here.
41, so it's actually slower. I thought it might be faster. It was just the top end of 43 kilometers per hour last time.
You get a great view, don't you, of the serviceman's work here. And at the back there, detached now, this is Katrin Zeller trying to get back into it, but the Finns are absolutely in the right place. They command both tracks.
It's pretty good. Niskanen there was in between the 2 tracks, almost creating a slight roadblock, and in that situation, your ski poles can get in the way of the athlete beside you.
So Finland coming up now to another crucial place. And Niskanen just losing position there to Kaller in the white. Niskanen on the extreme left, Heidi Weng following, and she's been in the tracks all the time of Kilonen.
It's perfect. This course, David, is mostly about arm power. Of course, they run up around. You've got the classic stride up round the charge, but it's mostly arms in the second part of the course.
And here comes Anne Kilonen to her left in red for Norway. That is Heidi Weng. Then you've got Kerttu Niskanen and the Russian Ivanova trying to get into this as well. Coming back, Katrin Zeller for more. Charlotte Kaller demoted almost to last place.
Well, you did question maybe for the next heat, but she's not even going to do that. So much energy out so soon and nothing left already.
And have a look at this, Heidi Weng, what a fighter she is. We've seen this through the season. She quickens it up and she takes it in 3:19. Slower, as you said, Mike, on the speed gun, and slower, in fact, at the end of the race, 3:19.2. So it's early days, but there's a hope that Østberg and Faller might, from the first quarter-final, have a chance of a lucky loser place. But Heidi Weng, total revelation this season.
I love the way you mentioned her fighting spirit. You know, she couldn't get through. She was panicking a little, but she has so much belief in her own ability that she wasn't overstressed with 200 meters to go, and with apparent ease went to the front and stayed there.
Yeah, the skiathlon bronze medalist of 2013 at the Worlds. Yeah, Heidi, only 21 years of age, Mike, and this is a great find for the Norwegians, because, you know, she really does suggest that, you know, she can become a real all-rounder.
And when you've got that talent, David, and then you're training around the great names of Therese Johaug and, of course, Marit Bjørgen, your destiny is really to reach the top.
And you have to remember, she was 4th in the 30-kilometer classic, won by Marit Bjørgen. So there's the promise of a young lady who won a gold medal at the Junior Worlds a couple of years ago, and has arrived as we move on to quarter-final number 3. And Hannah Kohl for Germany. Gajova, who's a pretty good sprinter for Canada. She's tactically fairly astute. And then Linn Sumska for Sweden. 5, Aina Kaiser Saarinen, who after Lahti had the American team over to our house to test out the sauna and get a bit of home comfort. And Nico Fessel for Germany, who got her first podium earlier this season, but it wasn't in a sprint. But yeah, Heine Kaiser Saarinen improving form, and she's the fastest qualifier of these 6. And Saarinen using that polling power, getting into the track, but also going really strongly is Sumskar in the white for Sweden, really powering there to take the advantage. Gajova of Canada second in the red and white race suit. And then you've got on the far side there the USA, Sadie Björnsson, who got a best distance performance over the weekend in Lahti. But a lot of these, particularly the Americans, feeling a little bit homesick. They're looking forward to wrapping up the season, getting through the spring snow and getting home.
It's a long journey, it's a long season with many, many races, and a lot of the athletes, the Russians as well, so long. The Japanese team, so many months away from home, but it's part of the deal as a World Cup racer.
Now, Lim Sumskar may not be too familiar to you. She comes from Umeå, and she's just 23 years of age, and she's graduating also from both the Junior Worlds and under-23s, and she was 5th in the under-23s last season in the sprint freestyle skate final. So she has a little bit of classic form and was 11th in Liberec, which is not a bad result. So she has some pedigree, but she's in a tough heat here with Saarinen, and Saarinen just getting better and better. It's just the whole season, in a way, came too early for her at the World Championships.
Well, it did, and she was so happy to say that she felt for the first time having more confidence in her own ability, Saarinen. And there she is, 42.08, so this is a slower glide than the first heat as well, but faster than the second heat. Whoa, pushing out of the way there. That was Gajova pushing, I think it was Katrin Zeller.
No, not Zeller. It would have been Fessel or Kolb. 2 Germans in here.
I beg your pardon, of course.
But it is Saarinen, the senior racer of this particular quarter-final, 34 years of age, and of course a very good classic skier, a world bronze medalist in Oslo over 10 kilometers a couple of seasons ago, and go back to 2009 and she was the world classic sprint champion in Liberec.
She seems to still have that fight today. She's setting herself up at the front. I like the way she's out of the tracks. It is faster, I would say, outside of the tracks where the powder is in those 2 cuts.
Germany, and it's Hanna Kolb in second place who's pursuing her. Then the Swede Sumskar, then Gajova, but they're all beginning to tire. It just shows you the effects of this course. And look at Saarinen, power, focus. Kolb can't quite get to her. Sumskar's off the pace, so is Gajova. Look at the time here. The fastest time was 3:17. This is still some way to go, but she's really striding out here. 3:09, 3:10, and punching this out here. And Sumskar vying for second place there with Hanna Kolb. 3:19.3, a little bit slower, a fraction slower, but Sumskar, good finish to get a place by right in the semis for Sweden. You've missed absolutely nothing, and there is, as ever, the joyous Keegan Randall, already having secured the sprint title for 2013. Orangeon, who was a little off colour over the weekend in Lahti, but good to see her smiling. And here's an achievement here for Catherine Rosted Harsum for Norway. Krista Lantenmarki just shows you how well the Finns have qualified here. They've been involved in every single quarter-final so far. Denise Herman, who wasn't the quickest. Katja Visnar here in Slovenian yellow. Well, it's luminous yellow, yeah. And Katrin Visnar, 3:07.58, the fastest of these 6. And still the first quarter-final, the fastest of the three so far. So Ersberg and Faller with hopes of getting a lucky loser spot. You've got to be around 3:17 if you don't win.
This will be an interesting one, David, I think, for Keegan Randall on the far left. Of course, she's the sprint champion of the season, but I felt that certainly in the qualifying, her number indicates that. She's only qualified in 29th. But the great thing with Randall is she can read. Look how much she reads it. She came all the way from the right side, way over to the left side as we saw it. So it'll be interesting to see how she fares in this one.
And going up there wearing 19, this is Catherine Rolsted Harsen, the young Norwegian, not really tested at this sort of level, 24 years of age, no particular World Cup achievements and no World Cup points. So she's in the top 30, Mike, having qualified, so she's guaranteed today her first ever World Cup points.
Brilliant. And of course in Davos she didn't make it through to the top 30 to get into the finals. Of course she finished 35th on that day in Davos.
Keegan Randall from Anchorage, Alaska, absolutely delighted. She was one of the American group who were over at Ina Kaiser Sarinen's place after Saturday. I was reading Jess Diggins' blog, and she was sort of saying how good it was. You know, it was just nice to be in somebody's house, to feel a bit cozy rather than just another hotel room.
It's interesting, and it is. There's a good team spirit, and I know Sarinen was over in Alaska training with Randall in the summer, which really did open her eyes to different methods of training, and so there's good sharing there between the Americans and the Finns.
So Keegan Randall, when she won here in 2011 as a precursor to the World Championships, it was in freestyle. It's one of the rare freestyle sprints we've had here over the 10 years. And oh, look at this for a log jam. How did they all avoid each other?
Well, I must say that Denise Herrmann, her skis were gliding beautifully fast down that descent.
You wouldn't know, Mike, that there was a 10-second spread in times from qualification amongst these six. And there's Randall trying to push round the outside. She's not terribly well positioned at the moment.
And Harsen, the young Norwegian who's made it in here, she's just so focused and pushing away, well, second, third place now, in fact.
Yeah, but there's the track craft of Denise Herrmann, who really has had a progressive season, Denise Herrmann, and leads for Germany. You can see Randall coming the longest way and out of the tracks, trying to find the fastest snow. The Norwegian, the Finn are with her as well. And Denise Herrmann for Germany, yet to podium in a sprint this season. The closest she got was in Canmore in a freestyle sprint when she was in 4th place. But she leads up the cathedral steps, as they're known, from the marketplace. And now you've got the Norwegian trying to close on her, but Keegan Randall now closing on Herrmann. And just look at this, the way they're coming now. And Keegan Randall puts the turbos on, comes up here and qualifies. Just an indication of how much she's improved in classic style. And actually Visnar for Slovenia run out of it.
I was really surprised with Visnar. She had the fastest in qualifying, but she never really placed herself in the right place at the right time.
So Keegan Randall, Denise Herrmann, they're through. And still, because that was 3:21, the fastest losers at the moment, or the two women who have a chance of this, are Ersberg and Faller.